You'll remember Lakeview Terrace? Hold on to your hats, because this movie's a wild ride. Written and directed by white dudes, their wildest LAPD fantasy, I tell ya. Widowed cop Abel Turner, a man whose kids think he's the biggest buzzkill this side of the Mississippi, has a serious problem with Kobe Bryant. Seriously, a Kobe Bryant problem. Then, bam, a picture-perfect interracial couple, Chris, think 50 Shades of White, and Lisa, Olivia Pope herself, moves in next door. Abel, he's not happy. Cue the escalating tension. Mr. Matson discovers Abel's security light is brighter than a supernova, shining straight into their bedroom. Poor guy's scrambling for cover. Meanwhile, at work, Abel unleashes his fury on some gangster wannabe, a total Vanilla Ice wannabe, I say. And then, the night continues, with Chris lighting up a smoke. Picture this, Chris, cruising into his garage, gets a very intense welcome from Abel. They become acquainted, but Abel's special brand of humor involves some seriously prickly comments about Chris's smoking, music, Lisa, and race. Abel cracks, "You'll always be white, Chris, no matter how much reggae you blast." Yikes. Chris ditches the smokes before facing Lisa, who's blissfully unaware of his habit. He finds her poolside, all smiles, and casually mentions meeting Abel, this comedic grenade of a guy. Smooch. Pool party time. But, oh, Celia and Marcus, upstairs, have a front row seat to this aquatic romance. Celia's less than thrilled, giving Marcus a righteous scolding, only to have him get a lecture when Abel shows up, all righteous indignation. But then, giggles. Abel gets a peek at some seriously unexpected pool antics, mayonnaise mayhem. Abel's fury shifts from judgmental parent to bewildered parent. He herds his kids downstairs, only to find the AC's gone belly up. The Matson family's day just keeps getting weirder. Picture this, someone snooping around, finds a screw in a butt. Suddenly, bam, Abel's floodlights, now glaring directly into their bedroom. Talk about cheap curtains. Next day, Chris is helping Abel fix his car, and ouch, Abel's accidentally trying to injure him. Chris, understandably ticked, asks about those lights. Abel's got a wild story about troublemakers and a teenage daughter with a penchant for midnight escapes. Meanwhile, Marcus, the little ball-tossing mastermind, gets the kids together with Lisa, and everyone's getting along swimmingly. But back to those blinding lights. Chris confronts Abel again, only to hear a tale of a super busy day. Then, the twist. A neighborhood patrol with Abel, Lisa's watching, and Abel spills the beans about a seriously bad neighbor, a wife-beating brute. What a roller coaster. Whoa, hold on to your hats, folks. Abel, this guy's a whirlwind. He tells Chris, after advising Chris's wife to dump him, no less, that their synchronized swimming routine is way too much for his delicate sensibilities. Chris apologizes, but Abel's solution? Move. Seriously, relocate to a more tolerant neighborhood. Back at home, Chris spills the beans to Lisa, assuming Abel's disapproval is all about their interracial romance. But get this, Abel's spying on them from the bushes. Talk about a dramatic flair. Later, at a party, Abel totally throws Chris under the bus about global warming and, the best part, his secret smoking habit. Abel's like a gossipy ninja, exposing Chris's sneaky butt flicking over the fence. The party's buzzing with whispers, and Chris explodes. Lisa tries damage control, but Abel's got the spotlight, and he's loving it. Chris chases after Abel, a cigarette-fueled apology quickly turning into a heated confrontation. Abel's betrayal to Lisa? Totally out of line. Things are escalating faster than a squirrel on a caffeine drip. Chris backs off? Nope, Abel just mocks him. Then bam. One night, their Prius is gone, tires slashed, garage wide open. Chris grabs his, wait for it, white man's sports stick and charges out, finding nothing. Abel, the ever-helpful neighbor, asks if everything's alright. The cops arrive, shrug, mention troublemakers, and the Matsons hear Abel's laughter echoing from his chat with another cop. The icing on the cake? Chris and Lisa spill their suspicions about Abel to Lisa's dad, Harold, oh boy. Harold's spinning a yarn. He's blaming Abel for everything, claiming a lack of solid proof, but it's basically a he said she said situation. And Harold's got a bizarre defense, Abel's got the color advantage. Apparently, being a cop is now a skin tone. And no people of color were involved in this mess, he insists. He suggests a civil suit over the lights, then wisely advises selling and moving on from their starter home. But Chris, oh Chris, he counters with his own brilliant strategy, floodlights. Blinded by the light, Abel's raging. Seriously, blackout curtains don't exist in this movie universe. Then, bam, Abel's on a domestic call with his partner, Javier, a phony gentleman, when things go sideways. Shots fired, and Abel's chasing the shooter, who's threatening more mayhem. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this family drama is wilder than a rodeo. Abel tells his daughter Celia, go for it. But Javier swoops in and arrests some poor sap. Celia's seeking dating advice, navigating the treacherous waters of white men, apparently. Then Celia cuts loose with a dance-off, only to be mocked by her dad, who strips down to his undies. The ensuing argument ends with a slap so hard, the actress walked. Meanwhile, Chris is whining about racial tension with his wife Lisa, oblivious to her likely facing even more. Did these two not discuss race before getting hitched? And the cherry on top? Lisa's pregnant, but Chris is not thrilled. Talk about a family feud. And Abel, indefinitely suspended for abusing his power. His kids are at his sister-in-law's, probably wondering if they should book a flight to Tahiti. This family needs a vacation, a long one. Abel, bless his cotton socks, offers to host a bachelor party at 3 a.m. Then, the music's up to 11, Chris is banging on the door, and Abel calls him a Democrat. I'm picturing a manga hat, folks. Then, things escalate rapidly. A stripper, a forced grinding session, and a comment about assets that really gets under Chris's skin. They toss Chris out like a bad burrito. Chris, rightfully furious, grabs his camcorder, paybacks they come in. Lisa discovers the evidence in the mail, the stripper video. They spot Abel creeping, staring. The war escalates to a full-blown tree-trimming turf war. Finally, in a twist nobody sees coming, Abel's at a bar, apologizes, and reveals a heartbreaking anniversary, the death of his wife. A phone call, and the whole thing took a dark turn. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is a wild ride. Abel's wife, total head-on collision, gone before you could say, gunny. And get this, she was with her white boss, midday, when she should have been tending to a patient. Abel spinning a tale of betrayal, suspicion, and a whole lot of racial resentment, blaming the accident and a possible affair for his hatred. Talk about a convenient narrative. Meanwhile, at a neighborly shindig, an Asian woman's thrilled with their new black cop, Lisa's giving her the stink eye, classic Lisa. Then, enter Clarence, Abel's informant, looking like he wandered in from a Discord server, breaking into the Matson's place, trashing the joint, even peeing on the furniture. Abel gives the green light, then calls to warn Clarence, only to have Lisa walk in and catch Clarence red-handed. This is better than a soap opera. Chaos. Clarence tries to trigger a massive alarm, knocking Lisa out cold. Chris and Abel, bam, hear the commotion and are off to the races. Abel finds Clarence trying to make a watery escape splash. And, well, let's just say Clarence's swimming days are over. Boom! Paramedics are on their way. Phone hunt ensues, no luck. Lisa and baby are okay, but Chris delivers the shocking news about Clarence. Abel's a nervous wreck, wildfires raging, everyone's evacuating, and he's desperately searching for that darn phone. Back to the house, oops. The Matsons are home early. Abel makes a hasty retreat. Chris, ever the grateful guy, thanks Abel for saving Lisa. Then tada! Clarence's phone is found. Chris calls the mystery number, and it's Abel. The look on Chris' face. And Abel, staring back through the window, realizing his carefully laid plan has just spectacularly backfired. At Chris and draws his gun as Abel enters the Matsons' residence with his gun drawn. He loudly tells Chris who he doesn't see that Clarence had been calling him and threatening him, saying he's going to hurt Celia and he had broken into their house thinking it was his. Chris appears, knocks down Abel and instructs Lisa to get the police, informing her of Abel's involvement in the break-in. However, before Lisa can get far, Abel gets up, knocks down Chris and repeatedly shoots at Lisa's car, causing her to crash into a parked vehicle. Chris knocks down Abel and takes his gun as Chris attempts to get Lisa out of the car, Abel pulls out another gun and shoots at Chris as Abel walks towards them. Chris points the gun at Abel, ordering him to get back. When the police arrive, Abel quickly hides his gun behind him and makes it seem like Chris is the aggressor. Chris, who is still pointing the gun at Abel, tells the police that he's lying and that he has a gun, which Abel denies. Unsure of who to believe, the cops order AEL to not move any further and hold on to your hats, folks, because this movie is a wild ride. Chris drops his gun, Lisa escapes the car, but Chris refuses to cooperate unless Abel does too. Abel's taunting Chris, Chris is taunting Abel. It's a gun-toting, wife-swapping, back and forth of epic proportions. Lisa's pleading, Abel's remembering his wife's advice, ironic, much, and then bam. Abel shoots Chris. The cops, let's just say they weren't exactly known for their patience, especially with a black man wielding a firearm. In the ambulance, amidst the chaos, Chris and Lisa share their love. A happy ending? Barely. Oh, and did I mention this whole shebang unfolds in Los Angeles, amidst a backdrop of raging wildfires? Talk about adding insult to injury. Stellar cast, shockingly bad plot. What did you think?